which is linked to DB. So first we'll be knowing about the databases, which is good for you, and it is very efficient when you're using it or when you're manipulating it. Manipulating it is nothing but which you're trying to dig into it, delve into it. So that is how we are going to learn. So let me share my screen. So is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. So we are going to explore the database and what is a database and why is a database today. So, okay. Mhm. So, introduction to databases. Introduction to databases. That is, databases is nothing but it is an organized collection of data. So, whenever you have a particular set of data, that will be stored into the databases, whatever it might be. For example, like employee details or employee, whatever the particular employee. For example, I am an employee at a bank and I need like to store whatever the details about me, like my name, my address, my ID, everything will be stored in the place of database. So whenever you're trying to put some data together and you're trying to organize it, so that organized collection of data will be stored into the databases. So they are essential for storing, managing, and retrieving information. So we, we not just store the data, but we also manage it. Like you can manipulate it, which I told. So, which is, for example, you want to change some particular thing in the organized data. So you can do that as well by manipulating, and you can retrieve the information. And you can also gather the information which you want and you can just put it out. Like if anyone needs the particular information about the database or about the particular, whatever the, for example, employees table. So I want that particular thing. So then it can also be shown by retrieving it. So we are retrieving the data. So that is how we use or we manipulate the databases. So main thing about databases is it is very efficient. Like you don't have to forget things or go through other things. So databases are important for us for storing data mainly. So that is what we have to remember. That is the most important point. And in this presentation, we can explore about databases and their tools. Tools is nothing but um, DBMS. DBMS are nothing but tools. That is MySQL or Oracle. These are the tools. These are the tools that we use to access databases. So, and we can go through the advantages and disadvantages and what is the major role that database plays also. Um, so moving forward. Okay, so here we have types of databases. That is, databases can be relational, NoSQL, or object-oriented as well. So let me just give a brief about what is relational or NoSQL or object-oriented to just, have an idea about it. So relational databases use table to store data. So relational databases, it is like a data structure to recognize relations between stored items for information, stored items of information. So the structured data which recognizes the relations between stored item or information. For example, you have given a stored item. Information is something that you actually, it is very meaningful and which you already, put it into words together and which is organized as well. And that way we gather information. So that is how we check the difference between, not exactly the difference, relations between stored item or an information. And while NoSQL databases are more flexible, that is, NoSQL is sometimes they refer NoSQL as non-SQL, or some refer to as not only SQL. So it is according to how you term it. And it is the database that store data in format other than relational tables. It's not much like relational database, but it is a little different. And we can state the differences between SQL and NoSQL as well. Mainly, SQL databases are vertically scalable, while NoSQL databases are horizontally scalable. So mainly scalable is nothing but you are kind of, property of a system to handle a growing amount of work. So it is actually putting some of your store data together, and it is trying to measure the amount of work as it's growing. How is its scalability? That's how it is going to check. So, and that is how we check on NoSQL as well. And object-oriented databases are something that store data as objects with attributes and methods. So object-oriented is nothing but you are going to check the data according to the objects and classes. So whatever, mainly, if anyone has an idea about OOPS concept, or not, it's something that object-oriented programming language, that is where you have object classes encapsulation. So these are all included. So we'll just take the above two, and according to that, the databases are formed. Object-oriented databases are formed. So using the object and class, that is the difference between relational and NoSQL or object-oriented. So does anyone have doubts on what is the, I mean, so far, anyone? Okay, can I continue then?
Please continue.
Okay, thank you. So that's what it is about the types of databases. And mainly some of the people are confused between types of databases and types of DBMS. That is, for example, now you have a MySQL or Oracle or PLSQL or Postgres. These are just the tools, that is DBMS, that is Database Management System. So here, this is just the DBM, not DBMS. So that is how we do. Okay. Um, so mainly when we are trying to, identify the difference, so you can understand that relational database or NoSQL or object-oriented are just the databases, but these will be accessed with the help of MySQL or any other things. Okay. Uh, and then moving forward, so the database management tools. So this is what I was talking about. So there are various tools such as MySQL and MongoDB and Oracle. These are the tools, these are the management tools, and which are used to managing databases. That is like NoSQL or relational or object-oriented. So most of the time we try to access the relational database. So relational is more like mostly heard. So we try to actually manipulate the data or access the data in the relational database through these kind of tools. So these tools provide functionalities of creating, modifying, and querying data. Yeah, so what, like for example, when you have a particular query, so that query considers to be creating, it can create and it can modify. It can change things. Manipulating is it can change things. For example, you have to change a column, or you have to change a row, or you have to change any particular thing. So those kind of things will be changed by modifying. And querying is nothing but you kind of ask it. Like, for example, you have to retrieve something. So you are asking it to retrieve particular part of the data. Like, for example, like any column or any table that has been created, or any database that you have created. Like, for example, you have created a database as bank or a pet shop or a gift shop. So that is a database that you have created, and everything that considers under it, like you have created a, for example, if it is a pet shop, and you'll consider tables as, for example, a pets or something. So when you're trying to consider them, so you're asking a table name. So that is querying. Asking is something you're querying about it. So that is what is one part of it, and as well as ensuring data security and integrity. So data security is, it is very secure that you're storing some part of the data. You're storing some part of the data into the database. So it is accessible only by the user, but not all of them. So when the user only accesses it, then you can, you can retrieve the data, or you can manipulate it. So the tools, whatever you are seeing right now, like MySQL or MongoDB or Oracle, these contain like the user ID and the password. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is these are very secure, and you have when you're trying to for example, put some kind of data together. Just a minute. So what I'm trying to tell you is, when you're trying to record or do some kind of data, so you don't, you have that kind of guarantee that no one else can access that kind of data through these applications, so, or the tools. So that is what I am trying to put together. So it is more efficient, and it is more, you know, it is more like easier way for you to do things. And mainly these queries aren't very difficult. It is a very fun learning when it is coming to such kind of applications. Um, all the queries, when you start or try to learn it, when you're going through it, every single query is, much fun, and it is much more interesting to learn. So when I started to learn all these database management tools like MySQL or Oracle or MongoDB, it felt really interesting when I started to learn about it. Sometimes I felt, is it going to be tough? But it was really, really interesting to learn the querying through those tools. And moving forward to advantages of databases, that is, they databases offer data consistency and scalability and data security. So you don't have to worry about any of those, because it is considered into the advantages. So data consistency is nothing but you can put any amount of data together, any amount, the employee details from a company, like considering a large company or a larger group or organization. It can store a lot of data together. So the consistency of data can be more, and it can also, store the amount of data, whatever the amount of data you have given. So that is one of the point, that is one of the advantage, and a pros, or you can say anyway. And the scalability too. So if there is a amount of data that is growing, like for example, um, you can consider an organization as converting, or it is growing up. So that kind of scalability, according to that data, is also, it can also be high or low. It can be manipulated, not manipulated exactly. It can be, it can fluctuate. So that won't be any problem as well. So the scalability also can be, much better according to what we see, and it can also be considered as an advantage. And the data security, like I mentioned, so you will not have any kind of issues with the data. which cannot be accessed by anyone else, but only the person, only the user can access the data. So according to the data security, you will not have any problem with retrieving the data if you are an user. But if you are trying to manipulate other data, that can't be possible. So that is how data security works too. So they provide a centralized respiratory for data. Centralized respiratory is something that it is the main point, or it is the major point from where you can access anything. So for example, my branch of company is okay. Mm, According to India, I'll just tell you. So my branch is located in Bangalore. So it can, now if you want to, access any kind of data, you can, like from the centralized point, you can access data, or you can retrieve data. So that is possible. And only if it is a centralized point, it is a major point. So it has a centralized respiratory for data. So if according to the data, what we talk, you have the major point to retrieve or access data. So that is called centralized respiratory for data, and enabling efficient data retrieval and analysis. That's the whole point. Like, provide a centralized respiratory for data and enabling efficient data retrieval and analysis. So you can also analyze the data. Analyzing is nothing but you're going through the whole data. So for that also, there are particular queries where you can analyze the whole data which you want. So being a part of, all these things, like accessing or creating or manipulating or retrieving. So these main points, whatever you see, is, it makes you more, it makes you your whatever search more easy. Even if you want to retrieve some kind of data or access some kind of data. So that is more easy using these, having these advantages as main a pro for you, so that it is like, it's not just about any professional or any beginner or any starter, but once you start learning it, it is more efficient for you. And databases also support concurrent access by multiple users. So if you are a user and you also have a co-user, like for example me, and I have my assistant, or I have one of my team member to access the data. For example, you're working on some project, or you're working on some kind of yeah, let's say a project. And it's like, your team members can't keep asking you to manipulate the data or access the data. So you can give access to them too, by sharing, like concurrent access by multiple users. So multiple users, like for your team and yourself, only can have the access. That kind of what do you say, advantage is also there for this. So that also can be considered as an advantage while you're accessing the data. So I hope you're clear so far. If you have any doubts, you can ask me about it. um I'm here
Banu,
to
yeah, Banu, let us take a pause here. Hello,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, friends, do you have any questions, please? I mean, yeah, if you want a little bit more generic, please feel free. Yeah, this is for our class. This is for all of us, right? So please be open up. Don't be shy, please. This is our class, and Banu is an excellent teacher. But just let her know what we want. Okay, what we want to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm here to explain. If you
yeah,
want
yeah,
it more, a little more like
yeah.
easier way to understand, I'm here to explain. So please let me know if this is okay, or if you want it more, uh, you know, easier way,
Yeah,
so I can
yeah, this
help
is
you with
open
it.
forum. Please, yeah, feel free. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but Bon is an excellent teacher, but as long as she knows your expectations, so that she can tune accordingly, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
No,
Avinash,
actually, she's good. She's good. It's like no need to like repeat it again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
She
she's
put a lot of
fine.
hard work on it. That's why she
Yeah,
came up with
yeah,
all the
yeah.
PowerPoint,
You
etc.
can
And
just proceed it further. Actually, yeah.
yeah, yeah. See if the remaining friends, right? So if you are not familiar with these terms, any one of them, don't be don't worry about it. Banu, are you going to share this PowerPoint as well?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you are in the group actually. Huh? You are in our group, Live, Shine, Inspire. That's where you can post your post the PowerPoint as well. Okay,
Okay, my PowerPoint. Yeah, I'll surely share it.
you will share it. Okay, okay. Thank you, Banu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends, can she proceed further? Same
Yeah,
pace.
yeah.
And if you need any amendments, let us know. Let her know right away.
Okay.
Are we good?
Thank you.
Avinash,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Shohan.
good.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Please. Yeah.
okay,
Thank you,
I'll
Banu.
continue.
Yeah. Please continue, Banu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to so if you have understood about the advantages, and let's go to the disadvantages too. So how the disadvantages work and why disadvantages. So mainly when we go to the advantages and disadvantages of database, it is like you consider some consider as in the starting what we have seen, like the three databases which we have already mentioned. Some are comfortable with the databases that we do, like some are comfortable with relational, I mean according to the project whatever they are trying to do. Some are um, uh, it's easy for them to go through relational. Some it's easy for them to go through no SQL, and some it is easy for them to go to not object oriented database. So considering them into the considering them into your project, it is also important that when you are going through all of these things, you consider the disadvantages as well, because when you go through the disadvantages is a main thing, you'll know if it is correct for your project or not. So let's see some of the points considering into the disadvantages of databases. So challenges include complexity, cost, and potential for data redundancy. So it might be a little complex for you, and it might be like cost, according to the cost, it might be high, and a potential for data redundancy. So for example, um, just a minute. Okay. So sometimes, data redundancy is nothing but considering it as, it is not much needed, but it is existing. So that is data redundancy. Potential for data redundancy is nothing but something that you have, like you don't need it anymore, but it is still existing, and you can keep it like that, or you can also uh, you know remove that kind of feature, but but still it's there, so which you did not want it to be. So that can also be a disadvantage, and it can also be complex is nothing but a little bit tough, like for example, some of the queries where it might not work until you're using some complex query. So that is also considered to be, and also cost, according to the cost also. For example, you have to get some kind of data, and it might cost you to get some amount of data or retrieve some amount of data when you're using DBMS. For example, Oracle, sometimes you have to give a particular amount of payment for the retrieving some amount of data, like when you're starting to use Oracle. So that might also be one of the disadvantage. And database systems can be complex to design and and maintain, and may require significant investment in hardware and software. So you can see here, as database systems can, database systems can be complex to design. So sometimes it is according to the design wise, if you're trying to design or maintain it can be a little complex because there might be a large or huge amount of data which you have stored. So that is one of the complexity we can talk about, but which I try to explain is one of the thing which I faced with. So I was trying to explain that complexity, but you can consider both of them, or you can just consider the thing that you have seen here, because some might not face the complexity that I have faced. So database systems can be complex to design and maintain. So you understood about design and maintain, that is where it, putting the large amount of data and kind of getting through it, or kind of designing it, that might be a little complex, and you may require significant investment in hardware and software if you want to um, go through any kind of for example, um I have been doing one of the project which is based on NoSQL database. So when you are going through such kind of database, you have to do your investment through it, like either like hardware side or software side, or both. So when you are trying to do through it, it is one of the highly risky thing, because you don't know if that is going to work, that project is going to work according to the investment. If you're trying to do invest in it, you don't know if you're going to get the profit back or not. So such kind of risk is there, and that is also kind of a disadvantage if you're failing in one of those things. So that is a disadvantage, and redundant data can lead to inefficiencies. So the redundancy is nothing but you're trying to um the data which is not much needed. So that redundant data can lead to inefficiencies. So it can also be inefficient if you have that data. So you should you are supposed to check on it, and you have to remove on it. So that is a lot of work that can also be a disadvantage for you. So disadvantages considered to be less, but let's take the advantages, because without database there is no work you can do. So considering what kind of database is efficient for your project, choosing it wisely is one of the most important point. So when you're trying to choose the database, you try to check which is good. Okay. So that is how we go through the advantages and disadvantages. Do you have any doubt about the disadvantages? So because if you're working on some projects, if you're new to all of this, you're just trying to learn it. I mean, this is the initial stage that you're trying to learn actually. So going through these will make you choose wisely, like for the projects, or you're trying to do fun learning, any kind of it. This is a very good thing for you to go through, and how to use a database. This is all considered. This is all considered, and it will be in your mind that you can tune your mind to choose a database wisely, and you can choose the tool also wisely. So any doubts? Clear so far?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And next we go to data security and privacy. So main thing is when even when we see like our mobile phones, or our laptops, or tablets, so these all contain some kind of privacy. That is, you set a password, or you set some kind of encryption, as you can see. So why do you consider that to be a part of your mobile phone? Some might not use it, but only when you have certain information that is very important that no one should be accessing. So that is why you set a password or an encryption or any kind of thing to your mobile phones or tablets or any electronic devices. So ensuring data security, privacy, and compliance is crucial for databases. So why is it crucial? Because there is a large amount of data that some of the people can access. It's not someone like casual can access the data. So ensuring that data security and privacy and compliance is crucial for databases. That is, encryption, access controls, and regular audits are essential to protect sensitive information and comply with regulations such as GDPR. So here, what they are trying to convey, what I am trying to convey is, for example, you have sensitive information in our phones that is about any bank accounts or any kind of, you know, any like how can I say, bank accounts or any kind of documents, like any office documents or any house documents, anything that is there, um, uh, that is to be protected very carefully. So that is one of we can uh, what do you say? You can actually put it into the databases thing, which is very, how can I tell you? It is protected well. Yeah, it is protected well. It has a good, you know, keeping it safe, keeping the data safe, keeping it private, and keeping it secure. That is the main thing about this. GDPR is nothing but it stands for General Data Protection Regulation. So if any kind of data that is going into the database, it considers to be a GDPR. Okay, it complies and regulations is nothing but, so we have such as a particular kind of rules and regulations that is to be followed. So that kind of regulations will be put into the databases as well. So GDPR considers to protect some of the data, that not just some of the data, the amount of data that you're putting into the databases. Okay, so there is a certain part of encryption, and it has access controls. That is, access controls is under the user and the multiple users. That is only by the team and the team member. I mean, the team lead. Only they can have the access to the particular data that you want. Only for the particular data, not all the data, because there are a lot of people accessing the data. Like, for example, I am accessing the data on employees. Some other person is accessing the data on the employees, but a different table. So that might be the chances or cases where you can only have access to the particular data, and your team member. So that is how you keep the data safe and secure and private. So do you have any doubts about um, the security and privacy, data security and privacy? If you have, you can go through. So I'm going through every single topic and just asking you, because if you are not understanding this particular topic, I can try to explain it much more efficient, because we use a lot of technical terms coming to the computer when we are coming to the computer knowledge. So when we are going through these things, I have a lot of technical wordings or terms. So I try to put it in a simpler words for you if you are not able to understand anything about it. I'm actually trying to, put it into simpler words than the technical terms. So if you want it much simpler, please let me know about it, okay? Okay. So moving forward, I am going to scalability and performance. So here we are at scalability and performance. So databases must be designed for scalability and optimal performance. Optimal for performance is nothing but, a casual going or a smooth going. Smooth going in the sense, for example, sometimes there might be a messy data that might, that might create some kind of disturbance in whatever the querying you're doing, or whatever the kind of databases you're trying to do. I mean, databases you're trying to access. So that might be, a little bit tough for you, but in using the tools might, consider to be as simpler for you, simpler and easy way for you, and efficient way for you. So we consider scalability and optimal performance as a key points too, because accessing it is very important, right? Accessing data or retrieving data is very important for us because sometimes there are some, there are some kind of, how do I say it? Um, there are some kind of issues when you're trying to query as well, because even a little bit, a slightest of mistake can be considered as, the query can go wrong. So at such kind of thing, your performance, optimal performance or scalability might differ, that you're not able to retrieve certain kind of data. So that is also, that might also be an issue. So techniques such as sharing and replication and indexing. So these are the technical terms. I just don't want to use these. And used to ensure the databases can handle increasing data volumes and user loads. So main thing about this scalability and performance is if you're trying to input lots of data and there is a huge amount of data or data volumes or user loads, for example, multiple users is what we consider. Your team has more than like 8 or 9 people or considering it. So that at that particular time, the scalability and optimal performance might differ because you're trying to, like, there are a huge people trying to access that volumes of data and etc. So at that particular time, this can be considered as an advantage because how many ever users you're trying to mention, that many users can access the data and can access the tables or the particular data that is assigned for. So that is possible, and the scalability and performance will be smooth going according to this process, only according to this process. There is no other user that can manipulate the data until and unless you are under the team team lead or the team captain. So that only at that particular point you can access the data, any huge amount of data. So that is what it is trying, this particular point is trying to be conveyed. Okay. Any kind of growing data or according to the performance, this is how it works. Moving forward to data retrieval and querying. So data retrieval and querying, it is efficient data retrieval and querying are critical for database usability, and SQL and NoSQL databases offer different querying approaches, and indexing plays a key role in speeding up query execution. So according to this point, efficient data retrieval and querying. So efficient is nothing but it is easy. So they are trying to convey you that it is, much efficient. That is, I can query. And, it's sometimes SQL and NoSQL databases are different. So SQL is something, it has a different querying, and NoSQL has a different querying. That is different way of searching what you want from the database. So it offers different querying approaches, and indexing plays a key role in speeding up the query execution. So indexing is nothing but the particular columns or the tables which consider the amount of data with the columns and the rows. So when you are trying to, access the data or query, as we have seen, SQL and NoSQL databases have a different, query. So as far as what I have gone through and what I have worked, so MySQL and Postgres is the most important thing that I have learned so far. So they have different querying approaches for searching particular data or inputting a particular data or inserting. I mean, inputting is nothing but inserting. So when I'm trying to put together a data, so they have a different, different querying approaches, which, if you want to know more about it, you can, I'll have one of the MySQL classes too, free demo classes at that particular time. You'll know what is the difference between SQL, normal SQL and MySQL and Postgres SQL. These are the tools which I'm talking about. So they all have a different querying approaches, and which also some try to speed up the querying, like some try to speed up the searching process, and some might, for example, PLSQL or NoSQL. These might differ and might make your what do you say search a little bit slow, like not like speeding up the query, but it might make it a little slow because it is much like a programming language. I mean, the whole SQL might be a programming language, but what I have gone through, the queries are very simple when you go through MySQL or Postgres, but when you are going through something like PLSQL, it is a little bit different and it is very much slow, like because you have the whole process to type out and you have to go through. So that is how it is important that you choose wisely, is what I explain. But sometimes for your projects, MySQL or PostgreSQL might not be important or might not be the thing. But you know, I'm mentioning is you have to use NoSQL. At that point, you have no other choice but choose NoSQL for your project because it is more efficient and it is more like, major. It is more like major. So you can consider that into your whatever while you're choosing the project DB. So that is how I'm trying to explain about data retrieval and querying. So any other questions, any questions about data retrieval and querying? I'm trying to use little, simpler words. I'm trying to put it together. So you must be having some kind of doubts. No doubts? I need I
No
need
doubt.
someone to talk. Yeah. Tell me.
No, please go ahead.
Okay. So no doubts. Okay. So next point is about backup and disaster recovery. So main thing is when you're updating, for example, when we use WhatsApp, we kind of backup data because we don't want to lose any important things that we have, gone through the day or gone through so far. So for that particular thing, what do? Is we backup. So backup is very important in every part of the programming, like not just about the databases, but also when you're going to other programming languages, backup is very important. So we are trying to consider that point also in the slide. So backup and disaster recovery. Implementing backup and disaster recovery strategies is essential for safeguarding data against unexpected events. So mainly, you have, for example, in an employee table, I have given an employee name and I have not saved it. And mainly in some SQLs, I guess you don't have to save it. It has an auto save option, but it is important that you try to save it, because you're trying to safeguard it from the data against unexpected events. Unexpected events can be considered as, not able to find the particular data or someone has removed the particular data. So that shouldn't be possible when you try to back up or restore it. So when you do that kind of thing, then you don't get that kind of issue. That is the unexpected events issue. And regular backups, offsite storage, and disaster recovery plans are crucial for data protection. So when it comes to data protection, these kind of mainly considering this point as backups or offsite storage and disaster recovery. For example, there is a crash in your computer and you have been accessing the database and some amount of data, you might lose some amount of data. So that is kind of a crucial point. So without considering that, we use backup as a key point and the disaster recovery as a key point. So when you are going through these kind of things, mainly you try to put the data together and you are saving it. So whenever you're trying to, consider the whole data that will be stored into the databases, then you try to back up that by using querying. So querying also helps you back up the data and recover the data. So that is a part of this slide. And you might not understand a very technical basis which I try to convey. So I'm just trying to explain it in a simpler way that you can back up and retrieve data or recover data when you have such kind of disasters, and putting it under unexpected events. You can consider this point. So backup is one of the key point too. And moving on to database trends and innovations. So database trends and innovations, new trends such as blockchain databases, graph databases, and in-memory databases are shaping the future of data management. These innovations offer unique capabilities for specific use cases. For example, like if you are considering the graph databases is nothing but you have particular kind of graphs, like for example a count plot or a bar graph. So these are the graphs that are analyzing your data and giving you an output of how it is considered. This actually, in the present project which I'm trying to do, there is this kind of data where the graph databases, that is, we use some of the querying, considering it to show you the particular output in the form of a graph. So this is how I'm trying to tell you. So graph databases as one of that, and the blockchain databases and in-memory databases. So these can be considered as one of them and are shaping the future of data management. So some want it very simple, like they don't want to go through the whole querying and etc. They just want it to be, displayed in the form of a graph, or displayed in the form of some memory databases. In-memory databases is nothing but whatever the data you have given, they want it in the form of a simpler way. So that is how it is considering it. And these are some of the future shaping, like for example, enhancing you into the future of data management. That is something, how everything is making simpler these days. Like where before no one had any kind of dishwashers or anything, but now they have dishwashers, washing machines. So some kind of improvement is going on in the current generation. So that is how even data can be manipulated, and it can, grow further into, how to access the data management and stuff. So these innovations offer unique capabilities for specific use cases. So when you're trying to have a particular use case, then you can use these kind of unique abilities by using the blockchain databases or graph databases. So considering these are, secondary, but primary is something that you have learned in the first slide, that is relational or NoSQL or object oriented. So those are considered as primary, and these are considered as secondary according to the thing that we are learning right now about the databases. So any doubts so far? No?
No, no.
Okay, thank you. So database security best practices. So what are the best practices of database security, like for the authentication and etc. Best practices include regular security audits, that is keep checking on the database that you're working on, and role-based access control. So according to your role, for example, you're the team lead, or any other person that is your higher authority, anyone can access the data, but you are supposed to be having for example, I can tell you, you should be having the eye on what is the I mean, who is taking access, who is gaining access to manipulate the data. And encryption. So you are giving an encryption. For example, I can give you a small example of MySQL actually. So you have a root and you have a password. So you have a root and password. So you're giving some kind of encryption to it. So no one accesses your data that is inside the MySQL DB. So what I'm trying to convey is, if you want the security to be best, then you need to have a daily record on your data, that is security audits and role-based access controls. So as I told you, that role-based access controls is nothing but you're considering it, who accesses the data. So that is how it works. And it's essential to stay updated on security threats and implement measures to mitigate risks. So you to dodge some of the risks, that is to escape some of the risks, you should keep, that is you have to stay updated on security threats. That is there is some kind of if someone is trying to access your data, then you get particular kind of signal that there is a threat that someone might be trying to access your data. So considering those as a best practices, you can go through them in that way. Test what kind of who or what is happening with your database. So keeping it more updated is what I might give you a main key point. Always keep checking your data in the database, and always keep track of what is going on with your database. So to escape certain kind of risks. Okay. So that is the best practice that you can do. And next, moving forward to challenges in database management. That is, challenges in database management is database management presents challenges such as data governance, compliance, and evolving technology. Organizations must address these challenges to ensure effective and secure data management. So some of the organizations must address these challenges to ensure effective. So some of the organizations have these kind of challenges. That is when there is according to the generation, the technology keeps changing, and there might be a change in the way of using the database. So that might be a challenging thing for the database users. So whoever is trying to manipulate the data, it might be a challenge for. So it is a particular challenge to the organizations too. So the organizations, when they are trying to upgrade themselves using these kinds of databases, so it is a kind, they take it as a challenge. And when they are trying to do these kind of things mainly, then they also have to make sure that the data is secure. So the effective and the secure data management, as you can see in the last two lines, organizations must address these challenges to ensure effective and secure data management. So when you're trying to improve certain kind of things about the database, then you have to also make sure that, or ensure that it is effective some way, and it is kind of growing, and it is also secure as well. So making these two possible, it is a challenge for the organization. So that is to be considered as an example and as a key point as well. Okay, so that is about the challenges in the database and management. And moving forward, what is the future of databases? So the future of databases lies in AI-driven data management and serverless database and edge computing. So when you have to access certain kind of data, or you want to install certain kind of tools, so a server is very important for the database management systems, that is the tools. So in the future of databases, AI-driven data management. So it can go with artificial intelligence. It can be driven by the artificial intelligence data management and serverless databases. That is, you don't need server as a key point to install particular database management tools. And edge computing. Edge computing is nothing but when you're trying to for example, you're trying to search or query certain kind of things, then edge computing is one of the things that can make your work efficient in the future. So we still haven't gone through, or we still haven't trained all of these things. But when you are going through these things, already certain kind of organizations already started to use the AI-driven data management and serverless as well. But making it possible is a tough job. But once it is into the market, or once it is into usage, then it is much more efficient for you to manipulate or access data. So these technologies are poised to revolutionize how data is stored, processed, and accessed, as I have told. So this is how we go through the future of databases, and these are the key points. The bolded marks are the key points that you can consider. So that is the future of the databases. If you think there is no future in database, no, you are wrong, and you can go through these kind of things. Mainly nowadays, AI is a very much used. So you can consider these points, and you can go through all the slides. I have actually, put the yeah, I actually have sent the PDF of this particular presentation, so you can go through that again. And so, concluding the main point about this whole thing is databases play a pivotal role in data management and offering efficiency, security, and scalability. Understanding the types, tools, and challenges associated with databases is crucial for harnessing their full potential. So mainly a few of the people who don't know about the databases, or how it is manipulated, or how it is accessed through the tools, then they go through the particular tools like MySQL or Postgres or Oracle. So going through these can conclude that they guarantee you the efficiency and security and scalability of the particular thing. Databases actually play a very crucial role, because almost every data that you're trying to store is stored in the database. And if there is not even one particular row or column that is found, then it is a very big problem or very huge risk for the organizations, because there might be some kind of manipulative data that has been accessed by some other unknown users. So that kind of crucial or such kind of pressure is on the database or DBMS. So accessing it very carefully and going through it very carefully is important for us. So I hope you understood about the whole databases that we were talking about. If you want to go through any kind of database, any kind of DBMS, that is database management system tools, then you are supposed to, be careful when you're choosing. I told you, as you have to choose wisely. And if you want to go through any kind of database management tools, then you can request for a class with Ravi Mandadi uncle. So I can prepare a presentation on that, and we can go through such kind of things as well. So any other doubts, you can just let me know right now.
Bonu, thanks so much. Yeah. Please feel free, team.
Hi. Regarding the data, you said like some time ago, if it's lost, just can you
Yeah.
repeat that once again?
Okay. So now, for example, you have given particular kind of data, and lost is nothing, not like actually lost. When you actually kind of delete or drop, that is something that is totally lost, and you can't undo that query. So that is what I was mentioning. It is not like you actually lose the data, but you can't get that data back once it is gone. So when you're trying to query a certain kind of data, or when you're trying to query, you're trying to query or retrieve certain kind of data, then you should be careful. Mainly when you're trying to delete certain kind of data, you should be careful, because querying makes a lot of sense when you start working on it. Mainly when it goes to deleting or dropping, that in that particular time you might lose data. That is what I was trying to mention. now clear?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, sure. So if you want to know about deleting or dropping or any kind of query, then you have to attend a few other classes which if you want to know. I mean, I'm sure it will be a fun learning if you have understood this particular databases, which is the basic to go through other DBMS, then you can actually, um, it is much more interesting that way. So thank you so much for attending, and it was a really good experience for me to, go through all these again and explaining it for you.
Okay. Last call. If you have any questions, please, before we let Banu go. Thank you so much, Banu, for taking class at 7 o'clock, 7 a.m., 7 a.m. your time. I truly
Yes,
appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no,
It was really, I'm really happy that, you're trying to know new things, you're trying to learn new things, and make sure you move forward with going through new things, learn new things.
yeah. Thank you so much, Banu.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, like, one moment, like, further, like, if you can plan some other classes.
Yeah, I'm
Please.
sure. I'm sure. Like I can
Okay.
take a few other classes. Is it like I just want to know if are you happy with the class? Like, are you able to understand? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to explain?
Yeah. I'm able
Okay.
to understand.
So, Banu, you want to take one
Yeah.
more class as well then
Yeah.
next week?
Yeah, I can do that.
Mm.
I mean, databases is so much. I mean, if you want to learn it as more, I can go through the database management tools if you're okay with it. So, I can do it sometime soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Like today's class, let's touch base with the surface level. Like
Okay.
10,000 feet level. But if they need any even further details, then we can
Yeah,
go deeper.
sure. Sure thing. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
So, please try to, like, have a class in the weekends so that
Yeah.
uh,
Sure. I can do that.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anything else before we let her go?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the next class.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Bonnie. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So I'll see you guys some other time then when we are ready for the next class, and Uncle will let you know about it. And thank you so much. Thank you, Uncle. Thank you for this
You're welcome,
opportunity.
Nana. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Banu. Yeah.